Good morning, John. We crunched the numbers, we did the experiment, and we found out that box on a ramp is bullshit. I'm going to show you exactly what the Atwood ideal experimental setup is and how we did it. So this is a sketch of a desktop computer. The software we used is QTI Pilot, license, shout out to REL University. We had this weird mixer, quarter-inch jacks, analog to digital converter sensor was placed somewhere in the pulley. Going further down to our cantilever, this is our Atwood's device. I just wanted to make the point here that there could be variable gears. We did not have this in our setup, so don't look at that. Very quickly, I want to point out some things about some of the problems we encountered with our experimental setup. So the first thing was that we used weights, and so the actual center of mass of these weights was probably, somewhere in here, the virtual sort of center of mass of the object. However, as you can see, our force of tension is not connected to that. Okay, so we used weights, but the experiment's highly replicable with boxes. Another problem we encountered was that we could not figure out how this was different in any way from just box on a table. We knew that that this would be markedly different from box on a ramp, especially if the ramp was Dokuvuni. We knew that that the signs of each angle in our system of equations would have a significant impact. However, because the sine of 90 is 1 here, and because our Atwood machine is essentially a cantilever that is angled 90 degrees and viced into the table, okay, we could not figure out, and theoretically, in the beginning at least, but we're going to actually do the full derivation now. This 45-45-90 box on a ramp, if we put two of them together, we're back to box on a table in the opposite direction. And this is box on a ramp 30-60-90 triangle. And the reason I know that is because of my 30-60-90 angulotron. Caution, these are labeled 30-45-60. So if you can't remember that, then to you, this is a 30-45-60 angulotron. One last third variable problem, super quickly. On a traditional box on a ramp, the friction is highly predictable because it's only operating in the negative x direction, and the static or kinetic friction of the box, so it is much easier to predict. In our Atwood machine, I tried to draw this here, but my drawings are not good. I tried to draw a saddle because that is and so calculating the kinetic friction. First of all, it's going to be it's our pulleys that we used are the best pulleys available. So friction is in the 1000th decimal place of our concerns, but it is far more difficult to calculate. And if you don't believe me that the force tension is a confounding variable in our Atwood machine, I can prove it to you with a pendulum, classic, pictured right, and a simple double pendulum, chaotic, pictured left. This becomes even more obvious as theta increases. While theta is less than 30, we are essentially using our unit circle to calculate. As theta expands, we do need sine waves and a field equation to describe the movement of and the energy of the pendulum. So because we basically conducted our Atwood experiment with the high E string, we're going to have, that thing is going to be vibrating very fast and causing all sorts of problems. And needless to say that the fact that it wasn't even anchored to the real virtual center of mass is also problematic.